Thanks so much for joining us. Our program is Spotlight here on WMKV and WLHS. And we love talking about different events that are happening in our community, whether it's the arts, whether it's veteran services, whether it's senior services. And we have two very special first-time guests here with us. We have Krista Powers from the Giving Voice Foundation and Rachel DeRocher, who is a performer who is going to be part of an event coming up at Maple Knoll Village Auditorium. This is coming up right around the corner, Tuesday, February 18th. At Maple Knoll Village Auditorium. That's located right here at Maple Knoll, 11100 Springfield Pike. If you put that in, you'll find the place. We'll give that toward the end of the show as well. They're both involved with this benefit with the Giving Voice Foundation, and they're doing a special benefit called As If You Will Remember, Words, Music, Dance, Exploring Dementia's Love and Loss. And I understand this is something very near and dear to her. But Krista and Rachel, thank you so much for joining us here on WMKV.
Thanks for having us.
Let's talk for just a moment about the event. And then later on, I do want to find out more about the Giving Voice Foundation. And Rachel, I thank you for being involved with this as one of the readers and one of the performers with this event. To find out more about tickets, you can go to givingvoicefdn.org. And you can find out more about the tickets, but it is a benefit for the Giving Voice Foundation. What can people expect on February the 18th?
George, what a beautiful question. You know, this performance is near and dear to my heart. I lost my mom in 2020 due to early onset Alzheimer's at the age of 63, and I have an incredible opportunity to work with my dad and Pauletta Hansel. Katie Chall is our dancer. Me, Jerry, and Pauletta read during the performance, and then we have two musicians, Adam Peterson and Rob Keenan, and we've put together this beautiful hour-long performance where we tell this story of grief and of loss and, of course, the light when the light returns. Mm-hmm. And so to me, it's a story of hope, even though it is a very sad story, perhaps. But I think it normalizes a very normal thing that we often don't get the chance to see, which is the process of grief. It's the process of losing someone. And in 2023, we did our first performance of this, and we actually benefited Giving Voice back then. Last year, we had the incredible opportunity to be part of the Fringe Festival, and I'm so excited that this year we're coming back on February 18th to support Giving Voice Foundation, who does incredible work in this space, to put the performance on. Perhaps the last time, even though I never like to say that, because I think it's so beautiful. You know, every time us as even performers, we walk through the practice of getting ready for the performance, we still cry. It's still a very moving piece for all of us. And so it's a really special, special night.
And I can only imagine the power of this. You just heard Rachel DeRocher. She is one of the readers, one of the performers. She is also a serial entrepreneur. That doesn't mean she eats Cheerios while finding a new business. But she is a serial entrepreneur in Greater Cincinnati, and just wonderful to be involved with this. Krista Powers with the Giving Voice Foundation. What do you think people should expect, and who should be attending this event on February the 18th?
People can expect to have their hearts moved, is what I can tell you. It is going to be a very community space when people come into the auditorium of Maple Knoll and experience this performance. Rachel shared it's an hour long, though it is from 6 to 8 p.m. on February 18th. And, you know, we're going to invite people to be present, to perhaps share a bit of their own experience through caregiving. And I especially like that question of who should attend. This is for anyone who has been a caregiver or has known a caregiver or might be a caregiver someday, either for a person living with Alzheimer's disease or other form of dementia, but really any caregiver can come to this. Like Rachel said, it's this beautiful performance that is a blend of music, some dance movement, and some people sharing readings and writings and poetry that they've done for their own reflection of their journey of caregiving. And then also I have to say, because I attended a dress rehearsal of this, the audience does get to have a participation piece of it where they can even share a name just written down on a note card, and those names will be read at the end of the performance time. So it truly is about coming together as community and knowing that we are never alone in our journeys, whether active caregiving now or in the various layers of grieving and letting go of a loved one.
We're speaking with Krista Powers from the Giving Voice Foundation and Rachel DeRocher, who is one of the readers within this special program. It is a 2-hour block, even though it's a 1-hour, if you will, performance or experience. But my understanding is that you're going to have Annette Januzzi-Wick and also a discussion afterwards with the artist as well. And I think a chance maybe to feel that support if you are someone living with someone with dementia. It sounds like it would be an incredibly formative event for anyone dealing with someone with dementia in their lives.
It's anyone that's dealing with grief. The journey of grief and what this performance brings is the fact that light comes back. Loss is something we all walk through, whether it's dementia, cancer, just human experience, right? And so with performing this, it's normalizing this experience, and I think that's one of the most beautiful parts about it is because grief isn't talked about. Grief isn't the conversation at the dinner table.
Right.
Grief is part of everyday living. And so I think it's just so special. Pauletta lost her mom to dementia as well. And so to be able to take a moment to honor these women that have meant so much to us and to share the journey of hope within our community is so powerful.
There's a public radio station that runs music from literally the 40s on up into the 70s. We understand the incredible value of music, but also something that I think the Giving Voice Foundation also explores is the power of motion and movement. All of those things maybe combined, or even one or two of those unto themselves, can create at least a brief connection that we can value with that person who might otherwise really be out of touch with the rest of reality.
Yeah. Katie Charles, our dancer, and Chris, you witnessed the dress rehearsal. She embodies the spirit of this performance so much, and it adds a aspect to the story we're all trying to tell. It's like literally watching the angels among us. Krista, I don't know how else to pull that in, but I think she represents loss in a really beautiful way in this performance.
And there is the magic that's created, and you'll see this through Katie's dance performance while others are sharing readings. But to your point, George, there is magic with music and movement because it helps us get out of our head, out of our brain, out of our skin. It brings us into our body. And so especially when someone is going through something like Alzheimer's disease or something like grief that changes your thinking and your brain functions, it's really important to get into our body. And music and movement are like these secret keys that are so accessible to allow that to happen.
And they can create a bridge, even ever so swift sometimes. But I have heard from so many people who have connected with a loved one through music, that music brought back a memory or stimulated something, fired some extra neurons and made that happen. I want to catch everybody up. In case you're just joining us here on Spotlight, we're speaking with two wonderful guests. We have Rachel DeRocher here, who is a reader who will be part of a benefit called As If You Will Remember, Words, Music, Dance, Exploring Dementia's Love and Loss. And we have Krista Powers here from the Giving Voice Foundation. The Giving Voice Foundation is the beneficiary of this benefit that's going to be happening at Maple Knoll Village Auditorium, Tuesday, February 18th, 6 to 8 p.m. And there is a fee. But I will tell you, you're going to an incredible cause, an organization that helps so many people. And I want to find out more about the Giving Voice Foundation. But again, if you want more information on ticket prices, and it's a very nominal fee. It's not going to break the bank. You're not going to have to take the kids' milk money or the grandkids' milk money for this. GivingVoiceFDN.org. That's for Giving Voice Foundation. So it's GivingVoiceFDN.org. And Krista, if I could ask you for a moment about some of the other things that Giving Voice Foundation does. You have wonderful things like the Cincinnati Senior Stories. One other one that's so incredibly important, having been a caregiver myself, not for someone with dementia, but for an older adult, Caring for the Caregiver, Creative Connections, Purposeful Planning. Tell us a little bit about some of the other things that Giving Voice Foundation does and how people can find out more about some of those services and some of those things that you do, even music in motion, all kinds of incredible things.
I get very passionate talking about Giving Voice Foundation. It is one of my favorite organizations. We are a nonprofit, and we provide direct services and support and social engagement for people living with Alzheimer's or another form of dementia and their caregivers. So as people are living through this journey, which can be as short as a year or as long as 2 decades, quite honestly,
right.
We're going to walk with them. And on our website, we have a variety of programming. A lot of times people tap into our purposeful planning program, which is meeting one-on-one with a licensed social worker to talk about your loved one and learn about resources and education so you know how to go through the journey with them. We have programming 6 days a week, I'm delighted to say. It's really amazing. I'm thrilled to share that with people that as of this year, 6 days a week. And our program offerings are free because of things like, as if you will remember, benefits and the money coming towards us. So, George, you mentioned things like Creative Connections. That's one of our cornerstone programs where we have a 10-week series, and every single week we come together and there's a support group that is facilitated for the caregivers. And simultaneously, there's a music and movement circle for people living with a form of dementia. So we're bringing forward all of the science of music and movement and the science of connection and community that often fall flat when a person is diagnosed and your world becomes smaller and social isolation starts to set in, and we're really working to combat those things. I can go on and on. I do want to highlight 2 others for sure. Caring for the Caregiver, that is a writing workshop that Pauletta and Annette, who will be at this performance on February 18th, they're the co-facilitators of this writing workshop, and it's for caregivers to use writing as a way to release and process their whole journey that they're in. It's a beautiful experience, and again, some of these dollars from February 18th performance support Caring for the Caregiver. And then the other one you highlighted, George, is the Cincy Senior Story. We're probably going to be changing the name of that to Our Stories, Our Voices, because we want this to be open to everyone. And this is something that people can go to our website, Giving Voice FDN, short for foundation.org, and people can go onto our platform and share a story of an elder in their life and be part of this platform where we really shed light and highlight our seniors, our elders, because it's wonderful to celebrate our children, to celebrate our college age, to celebrate us as people in the workforce, and we cannot forget our seniors, which ultimately is really what Giving Voice is all about. Our mission is to inspire cross-generational conversations and connections in order to improve the health of older adults.
When you have some of these different programs that happen during the week, where are they held? Are they held at different locations? Can we find that at givingvoicefdn.org?
Yes, you can find all of that information. We actually have a tab that's a calendar so people can tap into a whole variety of these programs and services. And we do these throughout the community. So we really thrive on collaboration. We partner with different organizations and churches and facilities. So we reach as far north as Westchester currently. And we're starting a group of Creative Connections in Northern Kentucky this spring. We do reach into Indiana as well. So it's truly a tri-state opportunity for people to tap into. And in fact, through our purposeful planning, we even serve people who are in other states who might be caregiving for mom or dad who live here in Cincinnati, and they need to know some of the local resources and be educated on how they can participate from afar. So the website is definitely the gold mine of what is available to people. And I want to, again, stress that no one should be on this journey alone. Rachel talked about the importance of connection and truly the importance of hope. I experience hope when I go to these programs and see people smiling and laughing and reaching and stretching and hugging and all of these opportunities for engagement, even in something that might feel like a very heavy and hard process and disease, there is hope. And so we at Giving Voice don't want anyone to make the journey alone. So we are very interested in people finding us and reaching out and tapping into the Giving Voice community.
I think one of the other things that I'm observing here is that by having events and regular things that people can go to, and realizing that that person with dementia may or may not be ready to go out every week to something, but there is something to look forward to for the caregiver to get them out to do something out of the house to create a better connection. And to me, that's what it's all about. And they feel very good about getting around that. And then for the caregiver, you're immersed in a group of other caregivers there with their own family or their own seniors in their life who are there because they need that caregiver. So it is kind of like an informal support group when you really break it down, I think. Rachel, I have a feeling your family involvement is what got you involved with Giving Voice Foundation. What inspirations did you have for getting involved as one of the readers and performers in this event called As If You Will Remember, Words, Music, Dance, Exploring Dementia's Love and Loss?
You know, my mom was diagnosed at the age of 59 with early onset Alzheimer's, and I kept coming back to writing. I wrote and I wrote and I wrote, and I shared this experience publicly with our community about what it was like to walk the journey of grief, the journey of Alzheimer's, the journey of dementia, but really the walk and journey of loss. And to be able to honor my mom this way in this performance is such a beautiful way that I just show the incredible impact that that woman had on my life, but really our community's lives. I've said often, even just in the last few weeks as we've brought this performance back to life, I've never witnessed anyone love bigger than my mom. It didn't matter who you were, what you did, or what you believed. My mom could shower anyone in love. And so my dad also, who's a poet, wrote and wrote and wrote, as we do, as the writers do. And so this opportunity, you know, the first time he came, George, he goes, Rach, I've got this idea about putting on a grief performance. And I said, Dad, that sounds really sad. and so, you know, as I walked into it and seeing this idea, grief is sad, but grief is also normal. Grief is part of the human experience.
Yes.
Grief is loss. It is job loss. It's marriage loss. It's child loss. It's partner loss. It's not getting the job you wanted. And so grief's also dark and heavy and sad. And so we don't want to talk about grief. And to be able to put this performance on where we can say, it's okay, you're going to get through this. And I love the story that this shares. Pauletta, Jerry, and I, as we read through our words that we wrote, each one of us wrote in different experiences of our grief journey, but then also ending it with the light returning, ending it with honoring, ending it with love. It's just that reminder that it's all okay. And community is such a beautiful, beautiful thing. I love Krista Powers. She is a dear friend, and to be able to support her as she is the new executive director of Giving Voice Foundation just feels like cherry on top for me. And so this performance, I think, for all of us is an opportunity to give back. It's an opportunity for us to say, we love being in community. We love sharing and normalizing these stories of loss and how much beauty, right? I mean, that's the hard part. People are like, death is not beautiful, but there is a real beauty. For me, I always go back to my mom was sick, and I am so thankful she is not suffering any longer. And she lived her fullest until the very last moment. We had the great honor of being home with her, She was surrounded by her family, and I am beyond honored and grateful that I was there with her until the very last moment.
I hope this is not the last performance of this. It sounds like it's incredibly powerful. We have Krista Powers from the Giving Voice Foundation and Rachel DeRocher, who is one of the readers and a serial entrepreneur who will be reading some of her own works, but there are going to be other people there. It's going to be really a multi-art event. And you talked about, Rachel, the gift of joy that is also in here and the joy of strength that the caregivers show. And for those times when they do connect with that person they're caring for who has dementia, those times that they learn to cherish when there is that connection, but also to just cherish the time that you have with that person and understand the value of that. And the word I'll bring up here is dignity. And that is something very, very important.
Yeah.
We're down to our last few moments here on the program. We have Krista Powers from the Giving Voice Foundation. They are at givingvoicefdn.org. Rachel DeRocher, who is also one of the performers with this event. I want to give all the details again, and we'll give it one more time at the very end. The benefit is called As If You Will Remember, Words, Music, Dance, Exploring Dementias, Love, and Loss. It is happening on Tuesday evening, February 18th at Maple Knoll Village Auditorium on the campus of Maple Knoll Village. The address you want to key in if you're looking for it is 11100 Springfield Pike, and then look for the signs that take you to the auditorium. There is a fee for this, but it is a benefit for the Giving Voice Foundation. So I urge you to look into this, to come out, support an organization that is supporting not just those people who have dementia or Alzheimer's, but those people who are the caregivers as well. It is such an important web of connection there to support this, so that these people who may discover that a loved one has dementia, that maybe it was just diagnosed, that they know that there's somewhere else out there that might have some resources. And we say the same thing when we deal with the Council on Aging or when we deal with Pro Seniors. There are organizations out here who can help you and help you get through this and navigate it and come out feeling stronger, hopefully, for it, by reminding you that as a caregiver, you have to take care of yourself, too. Krista, Rachel, any final thoughts that you would like to give on why people should be coming out to this event? This is, again, coming up quick, Tuesday, February 18th. Can people get tickets at the door?
Yes, people can get tickets at the door. And perhaps my final thought is one of gratitude. I definitely want to thank Maple Knoll for hosting us, and especially Nancy Villaboy, the chaplain of Maple Knoll, is just such a dear friend and generous hostess for us. If you are a resident of Maple Knoll or a team member at Maple Knoll, there's a code for you to use. So
Exactly.
Tap into Nancy Villaboy or tap into us through Giving Voice Foundation. We're happy for you to come that night. You can get a ticket at the door and just come and be part of community and feel some love and some support, and really give yourself an opportunity to be in a space with others who understand and care deeply.
I'm sure there aren't CEUs necessarily for this, but this would also strike me as an incredibly powerful experience for people who are in nursing areas that might touch upon dementia or Alzheimer's.
Yeah. Yes, Krista, right? We're like, yes, I think come be in community that is so full of love. That's what that night is. And no matter where you're at, in grief or out of grief, this performance is sure to unlock some real beauty in just not taking for granted the fact that we're still here and how beautiful and powerful it is to be alive at this moment.
Krista, anything you'd like to add? Final thoughts here on why people should come out to the event on Tuesday, February 18th.
February can be a long, dark month, and I say just come and be with us. You know, I said Tuesday in February, and you will not regret being in this evening of community. So treat yourself and come and treat us with your presence as well.
I thank you both for adding a positive note to what could be not just a dark month of February, but a dark time for some family members who are dealing with this maybe for the first time time, or maybe it's been multiple times that you've dealt with this with other family members or loved ones. And thank you for doing all of this. I want to make sure we give all that information one more time. This is a special benefit. It's called As If You Will Remember, Words, Music, Dance, Exploring Dementias, Love, and Loss. It is benefiting the Giving Voice Foundation, which does a lot of programs that you can take advantage of here in the greater Cincinnati area. Many of the programs that they do are basically free, but this is a fundraiser for them, so you can find out more about ticket information. It runs 6 to 8 p.m. at Maple Knoll Village Auditorium. The address you can key in and you'll find it. Just look for the auditorium signs once you're on campus. Believe me, I work here. You can find it. 11100 Springfield Pike in Springdale, Ohio. It's right near the Tri-County area. You can't miss it once you're on campus. Look for the flagpole. That'll get you to the roundabout right near the auditorium. Krista and Rachel, thank you. And again, that website, I'll give it again, Giving Voice, FDN.org. That FDN is, again, short for foundation. I applaud you both for all the things that you're doing to help not just the older adults who may be afflicted with dementia or Alzheimer's or a related disease, but also for doing what you can to support and really build up a much-needed build-up for the caregivers involved here, because I have not been on the dementia side, but I've been a caregiver, and I know how hard that can be. I cannot even imagine what it is to be dealing with dementia or some kind of a cognitive disease like this, and I can't even imagine. I applaud anybody who is a caregiver in that area, and thank you both for all that you're doing.
Thank you so much, George, for having us. What a great way to end the day.
George, thank you. Thank you for just sharing your platform with us.
We also thank Chaplain Nancy here at Maple Knoll Village for helping get us all connected here. Again, the event's going to be coming up on Tuesday, February 18th, 6 to 8 p.m., Maple Knoll Village Auditorium. Get ticket information if you're a Maple Knoll employee or a Maple Knoll resident. There is a special code. It's all a benefit for Giving Voice Foundation. Check it out, givingvoicefdn.org. Thanks again to Krista and Rachel, and we hope people will check this out. Thank you both again for all that you do in Greater Cincinnati.
Oh, you're welcome. George. Thanks, George.
You're listening to Spotlight. We have the information here at the station as well, here on WMKV and WLHS. Just tell your smart speaker to play WMKV.